Frank, anyway, here with me right now, incoming White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer. Sean, good to see you. Congratulations, first of all. I haven't personally congratulated you since we heard news of the job, but that's great. You happy?
I'm ecstatic. Thank you. It's truly an honor to play this role for this next administration, not just because of the role that it is in America, but also because I think so much change is going to be coming. It'll be really an exciting opportunity to help be that conduit of getting out the president's narrative and message and accomplishments.
Frank, you heard him say that effectively this is sort of President Obama's big FU tour. Trump's on his thank you tour, Obama's on the FU tour. What do you think right now? I mean, is he crossing a line here where it's just getting a little bit inappropriate?
No, look, I mean, we are a country that has one president at a time. There's 22 days for President Obama to continue the term that he was duly elected to serve. But I think that there's probably a bit of, well, potentially some jealousy at the amount of accomplishments that have already been occurring, both in terms of domestic policy, the job creation. You saw that Sprint tweeting about 5,000 plus jobs that they're going to bring to the United States. SoftBank, you saw the deal he did with Carrier. This is a president who is going to accomplish more before becoming president than some presidents may have accomplished in their first couple of months in office. It's going to be a very exciting time, and as I noted and you talked about in that package, we're going to see a lot more of this. There's a lot of excitement about a Trump administration and the change that's coming.
You mentioned jealousy. It's got to be a little bit unnerving for him because, you know, he is still president, and I don't think we have quite seen a president-elect go to work in the way that Donald Trump has over recent weeks. I mean, really, you know, coming out with information regarding jobs, some plans for the economy. Of course, he's had to put his whole cabinet in place, but it's been very much in the public eye, and that people have really been watching this very closely, and he doesn't seem to have sort of backed off. I mean, even with the victory lap, the tours, etc. How different is this, in your view, than previous president-elects?
Well, I think there's three big buckets that you can put this in. One is the speed and caliber of his cabinet. You look at the number of individuals who have already been named to key positions. It's probably the quickest in modern history. But then you look at the caliber of them, and it's unbelievable. You look at a gentleman like Rex Tillerson, who is one of the world's leading businessmen that wants to step down and, like Donald Trump, help move this country forward and serve this nation. Two is you look at the accomplishments that he's already had already, and that's in a couple areas. One, you look at the government waste. He took the cost of the F-35 strike fighter. They're pledging to keep that down at least $1 billion. Air Force One, he's gotten the tab well under $4 billion now. And then the job creation. And so the amount of action and success that he's had prior to taking office is pretty astronomical.
It also makes people feel like, you know, they really have hired a CEO for the job. Very different than a politician, someone who's actually trying to get some stuff done and maybe is looking out for them a little bit more than they have seen among some of their previous politicians. Let me ask you about the big speech. It looks like plans are underway here. He's working on the speech. He's got some help from his team. Can you give us some insight into what we can anticipate?
Well, I think, as has been noted, he's sitting down today with his team to go over the next draft. With Stephen Miller, Stephen Banner, Reince Priebus, Kellyanne Conway, talking about those big themes, the things that he wants to accomplish, but the historical nature of his presidency as well, some of the people that he's drawing inspiration from, and some of the things that he wants included. So I think as we move forward over the next few days, we're going to see a lot more of the contours of that speech come together.
Mm-hmm. What do you think the first 100 days are going to look like? I mean, a lot of people are hoping for a tax cut, both for individuals and corporations. Is it realistic, Sean, for us to think that's going to come through?
Well, I think it's realistic, absolutely. I'm not sure how long it's going to take, but I can tell you that on day one alone, there's going to be an unquestionable demarcation for this administration. Change is coming to Washington, D.C., and I think it's not just going to be the first 100 days. It's going to be the first, hour, the first day, the first week, the first month, the first 100 days, the first year, the first term. It's not going to stop. I think when you're around Donald Trump, it's infectious. He wants to continue to succeed and make this country better, create jobs, create higher wages for American workers, reform the healthcare system, give veterans the care that they deserve. He has an insatiable appetite to make things better consistently. So So it will never stop for him. And I think that's something that he's charged everyone on his team with, is that I want to continue to make this country better and better day by day and never stop.
Look, it's a quality great leaders have. Being a big deal CEO, right? You got to be able to infuse the team, or in his case now the country, with this excitement, with a positive attitude. And in many ways, and I criticized Obama for this throughout, he seemed to be so pessimistic about our economic future that no matter what was going on, it was hard for people to feel like they could get on board, and it was hard for the business community to be able to foresee any kind of future, given the friction between the White House and business. How do you think that can and should change?
Well, I think that it is about attitude, it's about philosophy, and it's about an agenda. And you've seen that now with Carrier and some of these other companies that we just mentioned, Sprint, SoftBank, that are just based on his philosophy, his desire, his goal to lower taxes, lower regulations, make this country more business friendly. And not because it's about what's for businesses, because it helps the American worker get a job, it helps the American worker increase their wages. He understands that that's what's important. For too long, the American worker has been left behind, and under a Trump administration, they're first and foremost so that we build strong families, strong businesses, strong individuals, and I think you're seeing more and more companies that want to come back, bring their jobs back to the United States, or create more, because they understand that there's going to be a friendly business climate that's going to support their ability to grow their business and grow jobs.
Good to hear, Sean. We'll be watching very carefully. Thank you so much. Good to see you today.
Thanks, Trish.
I mean.